It seems that Chicago residents could be waking up because during yesterday's mayoral election, Lori Lightfoot placed third out of the four candidates, which means she's being shown the door and she will no longer be the mayor. Apparently, the people there are sick and tired of the crime and the murders every single day while she continues to do nothing. And Joe Biden was in Virginia yesterday talking about affordable health care to a group of nurses and medical professionals. And I think he made the most cringiest speech that he's ever made in his entire political career. That today on No Limits 401. So it seems that the residents of Chicago might be just waking up and they're tired of the crime. They're tired of businesses running out of their city. They're tired of the murders and they're tired of Lori Lightfoot. During the mayoral election yesterday, she placed third behind Paul Vallas and Brandon Johnson, and she received just about 70% of the vote, which means she will not be involved in the runoff for mayor. So basically, she's out of a job. But according to her, it's not because of her policies or her leadership. She believes, and you're going to see, that she didn't win the election because of the color of her skin and her sexual preferences, when that could be the furthest thing from the truth. The people in that city are tired of the do-nothing mayor. Crime is at an all-time high, murder rates at an all-time high, and basically Lori Lightfoot handcuffed her own police department so they could not do their job. And she was, if you recall, one of the biggest proponents of defund the police. So here's what Lori had to say to a reporter when asked how she felt about losing the election. And again, it's because she's black and she's a lesbian. Have a look.
Your reaction to criticism, Tribune editorial used the term irascible. How much of this do you think might have to do with the fact that you're a woman, and specifically a black woman?
About 99% of it.
Expand on that.
Well, I mean, look at my predecessors. Did people say that Rich Daley held tea sessions with people that he didn't disagree on? Rahm Emanuel was a polite guy who was a uniter? No. Women and people of color are always held to a different standard. I understand that. I've known that my whole life. And the Tribune or whoever can write what they want. What I'm doing is fighting for the residents of the city. I'm an advocate. I'm going to continue fighting. Obviously, we need to be focused on uniting people as much as we can. But I was elected and ran on disrupting the status quo. And when you disrupt the status quo, you are going to make people uncomfortable. You are going to have people criticize you.
So that's typical of a politician who thinks they know what they're doing, who thinks they're doing such a wonderful job, when in fact, all they're doing is turning all the people against them. Lori Lightfoot was a failure from day one. In the beginning of the pandemic and the defund the police movement after George Floyd, she pushed to cut Chicago Police Department budget. She stopped the police from doing their job, which is go after criminals. She made the police implement a policy where they could not chase wanted criminals. If they were investigating a crime and the person supposedly committing the crime ran or took off in a car, the police were instructed they had to let them go. They could not chase them. And why do you think she lost the election? Because the residents there are tired of the crime. They're tired of the robberies, the killings, the carjackings, you name it. Chicago has it all. And it was once a great city. But Lori Lightfoot decided, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do things my way. And her way was let the criminals run the streets, let businesses run out of that city and put people out of work, And she did not care, because most of the time during any crisis in Chicago, you could go on TikTok and see Lori Lightfoot making videos, dancing, and trying to sing. During the Pride celebration, she was wearing all the colors proudly because she is LGBTQ, which no one gives a shit. But she claims she's 99% sure that she lost that election because she's a woman, because she's black, and because she's a lesbian. That's how ridiculous Lori Lightfoot is. That's how awful of a person she is. She can't come to grips with the fact that she absolutely destroyed that city, and the people have just had enough. Every single day in the city of Chicago, there is at least one murder by gunfire. There are carjackings every single day, robberies, burglaries, you name it, it's happening. And her police department can't do anything because she will not allow it. She wants to free the criminals, let them run the streets, because after all, the police department is racist. Even though they have a very high number of black officers, they are still racist because they're trying to arrest criminals. And she wouldn't have any of it. And she lost the election because she's a woman, and because she's black, and because she sleeps with women. No one gives a shit, Lori. She was a failure again from day one. She will always be, in my eyes, a bleeding heart liberal Democrat failure. She said serving as the mayor of Chicago has been the honor of her life, and I believe that. But she did nothing but bad things. Hundreds of people lost their lives to violent crime under her watch. Police officers lost their lives under her watch. And police officers ran off the police force under her watch because she didn't have their backs. And that's the bottom line. She failed the city that she supposedly loves. And now she's going to go on the news, and she'll probably go on a big media tour now with all the liberal networks. She'll probably go on The View and CNN and all those asshat shows and tell people that she lost the election because people just can't handle the fact that a black lesbian woman was a leader, a so-called leader in a major city, which is absolute trash. She knows it, I know it, and all of you know it. So hopefully, one of the two candidates, Vallis or Johnson, will do something. They're both left-leaning politicians, but you have to wonder, did they run because they want to continue her destruction? Did they run because they just want to be important? They want to be the mayor of a big city like that? Or did they run to turn things around and actually help the people who live there? Well, that remains to be seen, but I'm sure people are celebrating that Lori Lightfoot got beat because her time was coming regardless. Nothing, nothing she did made a difference for the better in that city. And I'm happy that the residents realized it and got rid of her. So she can go, maybe she'll get a speaking gig on CNN or MSNBC. Maybe she can fill in for Whoopi Goldberg when she takes a break from The View, because she'll fit right in there. But the one thing she's not going to do, she's not going to be able to continue her bad policy and continue to destroy Chicago. And again, I'm glad she lost, and she deserved to lose because she did nothing but cause problems for that entire city. So I guess I wish her well, but I don't think she's gonna go. I don't think she's gonna go away. I think we haven't seen the last of her, and I hope not, because I like talking about her. And I like to call her Beetlejuice. because that's what she looks like. But that's it for Lori. I mean, the writing was on the wall. She did not care. She blamed everything on another political party. She blamed everything on white supremacy. She blamed everything on the police weren't doing what they were told to do when she told the police basically not to do their job. So, bye bye, Lori Lightfoot. I wish you the best, and I'll probably be seeing you on some mainstream media network sometime soon. And with that out of the way, I have to talk briefly about Joe Biden. We all know Joe. We all know that he says some of the most ridiculous things when he gets at a podium. That is, if we can understand him, because every time he opens his mouth, it's a mumble, a blunder, or he just stands there and stares into space because he has no idea what he's doing. But yesterday, he went to the podium in Virginia talking about affordable health care. And he was speaking in front of a group of medical professionals. I know that were nurses, I'm assuming doctors. And what he said was one of the cringiest and creepiest things I think I've ever heard him say. And he says a lot of creepy shit. But this one, I think it takes the first place right now of every creepy thing he's ever said at a podium. So have a look.
Robin, you know my dad. By the way, you docs are good, but if there's any angels in heaven, they're all nurses, male and female. You know why? You guys allow us to live. Nurses make you want to live. I'm not joking. You lie there in the ICU, which I've done for a long time, and you look at those machines, and you know the line goes flat, that it's over. But you just get tired. You don't care. When I was at Walter Reed all that time after a couple craniotomies, I was lying there, and I had a nurse named Pearl Nelson, military. She'd come in and do things that I don't think you learn in medical school, nursing school. She'd whisper in my ear. I couldn't understand her. She'd whisper, she'd lean down. She'd actually breathe on me to make sure that there was a connection, a human connection. She even went home and brought back her pillow from her own bed because she knew the one I had the one comfortable. But I'm not joking.
And that, my friends, has to be one of the creepiest things that have ever come out of that old fool's mouth. Why doesn't anybody censor this guy? Who is he actually looking at something and reading this, or is he just coming up with this nonsense and no one says anything about it? He spent a lot of time in the ICU laid up, and he said he was there after a couple of craniotomies, which maybe he meant lobotomies, the way he speaks. But the nurse, her name was Pearl Nelson, and she would go in and she would lean in and whisper in his ear, and she would do things that he doesn't think are taught in medical school. She would breathe on him or breathe in his nose to make sure he was okay. And then, because she knew he wasn't comfortable with his pillow, she would bring in her own pillows from her bed to make sure he was comfortable. Why in God's name would he even say that? She's whispering in his ear things that you don't teach in medical school. She's blowing on me. This man is so fried. And I think I said this in 15 other episodes. How can anyone with a brain the size of a pea believe that this man is competent to be the president? How can they believe that he's not being forced to do this job so A, Dr. Jill can stay relevant, and B, Barack Obama can still make the call, which I believe that's going on. I believe Obama is calling the shots in that White House. I don't know why. Maybe it's because KJP a few days ago was talking in one of her live fests at the podium, and she said President Obama said this, and she said, oh, I mean President Biden. That wasn't a Freudian slip, but she quickly turns it into something, just another lie. But this man is a sick, sick man. The stories he's told, we all heard them on the campaign trail. I had hair on my legs that would turn blonde in the sun, and the kids would rub it. And then it was something about roaches in the next sentence. And that was creepy enough, talking about kids rubbing the hair on his legs. But now he's talking about a nurse named Pearl who's whispering in his ear and bringing him pillows and blowing on him. How much time exactly was Joe Biden laid up in the ICU? How many craniotomies did he have? I do believe he might have had something going on, an aneurysm or something. I'm not positive. That could explain why he has no idea what he's doing. But this just gets creepier and creepier every time he speaks. If he's not whispering, he's yelling or making mean faces and pointing his finger or holding the microphone and just looking up into space because he knows not what he's doing. But everybody's cheering, which there had to be applause signs, because no one, I'll say it one more time, no one can believe that our country is on the fast track to greatness with this man in the White House. There is no way on God's green earth that anybody actually believes this. Everything is going wrong. Everything is out of control. He's giving all our money away. He's just fried. And if he has dementia, I feel bad for the man. He's an old man. If he has dementia, he needs to just go away, sit in a rocking chair at your Delaware mansion. Maybe you can crochet or something. Or maybe you and Hunter can look at classified documents. But that right there, by far, is the creepiest thing I've ever heard this man say. And people are clapping. And I just wonder, does anybody say to him when he walks off that podium, what the hell are you talking about? Probably not, because they want to keep their job. This man is a disgrace. Just like in the beginning of this episode, Lori Lightfoot, absolute disgrace. So what this all boils down to is Democratic politics at its worst. Lori Lightfoot let crime run rampant in her city, did not care, was making TikTok videos while people were getting murdered outside her door. Joe Biden is flying all over the country, bringing $500 million to Zelensky, then sending Janet Yellen over there, the Treasury Secretary, to give him more. He's bankrupting our country, and Lori Lightfoot brought Chicago to its lowest point ever, as far as I'm concerned. So now she's gone. Hopefully, because he hasn't announced yet, hopefully he's going to hang it up. But there's one thing that I truly believe. I think that the Democrats want him to finish his term for one reason, because they do not want cackling Kamala Harris to take the helm if he, some reason, some way, can't finish. So they're going to keep shooting him up with epinephrine and giving him vitamins and pushing him out there to keep doing what he's doing, which is destroying our country, only because Kamala Harris will be 1,000 times worse than Joe Biden. And if you're worse than Joe Biden, you're the worst of all time. hands down, end of story. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't liked this episode, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell and share this video with someone. I'd appreciate that. Hope you're all healthy and safe, and I'll see you soon. Have a great night.